we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Acorn whistleblower and senior advisor to True the Vote, Anita Moncrief.
Thank you. It is an honor to be here today. I have to honestly tell you that I could not have imagined this day a little over 5 years ago. It wasn't possible. There was no such thing as grassroots on the right. It didn't exist. So when I was at Acorn, and I was a radical organizer working, I was getting frustrated over the things I saw. There was a pattern of what we called an agenda of what was going to happen, and that included Acorn's People's Platform. And that platform was all about universal health care and forced unionism and cap and trade and EPA run wild. All of the things that we were going to pass right when Obama was getting elected. And I was right there in the middle. So when I got tired of this culture of victimhood, of this pattern of using blacks as a shield for all these criminal activities that were occurring, from voter fraud to falsifying registrations, whatever, there was no place to go. So there I was, tired of the victimhood, tired of the race card, looking around, and it was isolating. It was sad. And that was the end of 2008. And then 2009 hit with the rise of the Tea Party. And I didn't think that I would be a Tea Party person. I'm a radical liberal. I voted for Obama, you know? But I'm posting stuff on Facebook, and I'm looking around, and it's the conservatives that are laughing at my jokes and my posts. And I'm like, honey, this conservative thinks I'm funny. You know, I couldn't believe it. You know, I didn't have anything in common with a white guy from New York that was 70 years old and had voted Republican all his life. But that was the rise of the grassroots. That was the arms that were stretched out and embraced me and let me know that I had found a home, that it was okay to go up against the things that I had been taught. That things like that being black was it wasn't a disease, it wasn't an illness. I don't need 30 days to vote. I have a photo ID regardless of what Eric Holder thinks. You know, I don't need the government to take care of me and my kids. I learned that Acorn wasn't fighting to end poverty. The money was in the fight. And as long as they were out there saying they were fighting, they were raking in millions of dollars across the spectrum. And there we were at the same time saying, you're racist because you don't want blacks to vote. You're racist because of this and that. And at the same time that we were doing that, they were moving behind the scenes and ruining America and keeping us divided. And that's exactly where we have been, divided. But now, and this, I know you've heard this before, but I will say it again. Right now, I am in Texas for a reason. I'm working with True the Vote. You saw Catherine Engelbrecht this morning. And I will tell you, if they take Texas, the rest of this country will fall. And that's why I'm there. We're organizing against Battleground Texas. And I remember being at the left, and it was a dream. This is the dream situation. We've got a radical in office, and we're poised to take Texas. I mean, no, they couldn't even think that this would happen, and here we are. I always told my mom back in 2009 and 2010, if it gets bad, get to Texas and I'll meet you there. What happens when that's not a reality anymore? This is what we're fighting for. This is what I'm fighting for. We are bringing a new grassroots ground game, and it's starting in Texas this year. Believe me, we are talking conservative organizing for the right things, for liberty, for getting out there and taking America back block by block. We didn't lose it that way, but that's exactly how we're going to take this country back. And we need to remember that no matter what, it is worth fighting for. It's worth dying for. Some people tell me, oh, I'm frustrated. You know, we've been doing this for years. Michelle Obama said that her husband would never let us go back to our normal lives. And she was right. We will constantly be out there. And this, what I'm telling you, is why I fight. Because I was creating a world that I didn't want my daughter to live in. That is my American dream. My family, that's the American dream that I fight for every single day. And let me tell you, I know you just heard this before, but it's what keeps me going. And it's that quote from Abraham Lincoln, that my dream is of a place and time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of earth. That's exactly why I fight, and that's why we're here today. Thank you.
Please welcome Sonny Johnson from Breitbart News.
Hello, everybody. Usually when I get these opportunities, I like to come out and razzle-dazzle a little bit, show a little bit of my personality. But today I might disappoint you just a teeny bit. So I'm going to ask you to bear with me. Because I had wrote this speech that I thought was going to fire everybody up. It was about diversity of thought and us getting out there and fighting. But yesterday something hit my heart, and it made me change up what I wanted to say. So I'm going to say what hit my heart instead of what I had planned. Now, it was about 4 years ago. I was asked to give my first speech ever. I have never been in front of a crowd. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not an activist. I'm just a mother, a citizen, and a child of God. And I was quite nervous, but they asked me to give this speech, and I was excited about it, but I was a little bit nervous. It was my first time speaking ever. And when I got to it, it was a tea party. And one of the first things they did was pray. Now, this was important to me because I was nervous. It was a crowd full of white people. I had no idea how they were going to take what it was that I was going to say. But I got this feeling that if God was welcome there, then I'd be welcome too. So then I heard them pray in Jesus' name. And I got that feeling. You know that feeling when it's 3 or more in a group and God said he'll show up? I got that feeling that God has showed up. So I was at ease and I was calm. I was happy. Now, I don't want this to sound like a sermon because I'm a born sinner and I'm probably going to sin again. I like to say I'm on my Steve Harvey, God just isn't finished with me yet. But my enemy is not a man. My enemy is any philosophy that is shaped by or exalts the teachings of Karl Marx. Karl Marx had 2 main goals: to destroy capitalism and to dethrone God. So when you hear the leader of progressivism, aka American Marxism, say that you are doing God's work, understand, he means it. He means you're taking over God's work. God must be dethroned. See, you don't have to pray for sustenance in Jesus' name because government gives you food and housing. You don't have to pray for health in Jesus' name because government gives you Obamacare. You don't have to pray for morality in Jesus' name because a progressive will tell you what's right and wrong. You don't have to pray for wisdom because a progressive will tell you what to do. You don't have to pray for wealth because a progressive will take from someone else and give to you, and won't you be lucky? You no longer have to pray in Jesus' name because now you have government. Well, I have this question. If God is in all of these things, then why are the 10 Commandments not allowed in the social services building? If God is in all of these things, why is there even a question if little sisters of the poor have to pay for abortion? If God is in all of these things, do we have to ask him where he stands on marriage? If God is in these things, why is this 2 out of 3 years in progressive New York City more black babies have been aborted than have been born? If God is in these things, why are we a debtor nation? Why aren't we prosperous? Why aren't we growing? I have to ask sometimes, what God are you serving? But that's not my place, and kind of, truthfully, I really don't want to know. So this is what I plan to do instead. Tea Party, America, in Jesus' name, I pray sustenance on you. I pray health on you. I pray wealth on you. I pray discernment of choice on you through love. I pray wisdom on you. And I pray these things on you in Jesus' name. Amen. Happy anniversary, Tea Party.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
Democrats smeared MLK in the 1960s, character assassination. That's the tactic used by Democrats in the 1960s to discredit Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., a Republican who was fighting the Democrats and trying to stop them from denying civil rights to blacks. The relentless disparagement of Dr. King by Democrats led to his being physically assaulted and ultimately to his tragic death. In March of 1968, while referring to Dr. King's leaving Memphis, Tennessee, after riots broke out where a teenager was killed, Democrat Senator Robert Byrd, a former member of the Ku Klux Klan, called Dr. King a troublemaker who starts trouble, but runs like a coward after trouble is ignited. A few weeks later, Dr. King returned to Memphis and was assassinated on April 4, 1968. Prior to his death, Democrats bombed Dr. King's home several times. The scurrilous efforts by the Democrats to harm Dr. King included spreading rumors that he was a communist. On October 10, 1963, with the approval of Democrat President John F. Kennedy, Democrat Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy authorized the wiretapping of Dr. King's telephone by the FBI. Wiretaps were placed by the FBI on the telephones in Dr. King's home and office. The FBI also bugged Dr. King's hotel rooms when he traveled around the country. Does wire-tapping of Democratic opposition sound familiar today? Obama and the NSA and the IRS against freedom-loving people? If Dr. King were still alive, he would be slandered by Democrats in the same way that they smeared him in the 1960s and demean all black Republicans today. Are you going to continue to be a black coward? Are you going to continue to let the left tell you what to do and how to think? When will you get the courage to come back to the party that you started with? When will you get the courage to leave the Democratic Party of slavery?